Live from New York, this is the Harvey Hour. My name is Stephen Harvey. Great to have you in today on a Friday. As always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. How you doing today on this Friday?
Always happy it's Friday. Ready to go. Some good topics. World Series is starting. We got something to say about baseball for a change. Huh?
Yeah, no, it's been a while. We talked about the Mets for a day or two, and now we're previewing the World Series, which is, in fact, tonight. We'll talk about that later on the show. Yankees, Dodgers. I mentioned this. I don't know if I said it on the show, but I mentioned it privately. If we're a ratings-based show, which we kind of are, and we cared about, if we were Fox or TBS or whoever runs the World Series, this is the matchup we would want. The two biggest markets in the MLB. The worst matchup, sorry to say, would be the Mets-Guardians. I think the second best would be Mets-Yankees, Subway Series. Who doesn't want that in the World Series? It would be, back in 2000. There was a Subway World Series, and now it is probably the two biggest markets in the MLB, Dodgers, Yankees. We'll talk about that. But let's start actually with our first topic, which is last night's game between the Minnesota Vikings and the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams defeated the Vikings 30-20 on Thursday Night Football. The Rams moved to 3-4, while the Vikings suffered their second straight loss last week against the Lions and now against the Rams, which they were 3-point favorites, actually, and fell to a Rams team that got healthier. Cooper Kupp back, Puka Nacua back, Kyron Williams, we finally see him exploding off once again in the run game. It's been a while. The offensive line still banged up, but that really didn't seem to faze the Rams whatsoever. Both offenses extremely dominant in this game. I want to know, though, you picked the Vikings to win and cover this point spread. What was your reaction to last night's game?
Well, the Vikings started out great. I mean, they looked like world beaters there in the first quarter, 2 touchdowns. But I think my takeaway is the Vikings couldn't score touchdowns when they got in the red zone in the final 3 quarters of the game. They settled for after they scored those first 2 touchdowns, which seemed very easy, went right down the field, scored them both. Justin Jefferson starting out like a world beater. They settled for 2 field goals, and that's not going to get it done. And the Rams, my takeaway there is they're a different team on offense when both Nacua and Kupp are out there playing together. They'd only played 24 snaps all season before last night. When they're both out there, man, it made Matthew Stafford look like a world beater. You look at the stats, L.A. having only won 2 games up to this point, 2-4, mainly because of those injuries. The time of possession, L.A., 33 minutes, 56% of the time. Minnesota, only 44%. Total yards, the Rams had a football field more of yards than the Minnesota, 386 to 276. Passing, you've got those stats up there. Stafford, 279 yards, 4 TDs, 1 interception. He only had 6 TDs in the previous 6 games, and he had 4 last night. So having those wide receivers out there made a big difference. I didn't know Nacua was going to play. I thought he was questionable, and they wouldn't put him out there. I think they did that as a decoy, and then when he did get out there, he played great. Stafford, 25 of 34, so his percentage of completion was good. I think Darnold didn't have a bad game, 18 of 25, 212 yards, 2 TDs. But the rushing on the Minnesota side, only 64 yards on 22 carries. The Rams, as you said, Williams had a very nice game. They had a total of 107 yards on 32 carries. Jefferson versus Nacua. Jefferson had 8 catches for 115 yards. Nacua 7 for 108. The standings now: Minnesota 5-2 in their division. They're 1 game behind the Lions, and LA at 3-4. I mean, it doesn't really that division. The leader is at 4-3. So was Seattle, and San Francisco in last place at the moment. So I think the Rams, this is a big win for them.
No, I completely agree. And the biggest part about it was it was questionable whether or not Puka Nacua would return. We expected Cooper Kupp to come back, but Nacua was a complete shock, I think, which I'm fortunate that I chose the Rams to win this game because I believed that Stafford would be able to get it done just with Cooper Kupp, and Puka Nacua made a significant impact immediately from the jump. That first drive, it's dink and dunk to Nacua back and forth, and incredible plays, screen passes. Nacua did a great job early on. But no, I think this established one thing. The Rams were never a bad team. They were just riddled with a bunch of injuries. Matt Stafford's still a top quarterback in the league. Cooper Kupp still draws bodies. There were a lot of times where Nacua would get the target, but Cooper Kupp would draw defenders his way just because of his impact. So to have those 2 wide receivers out there, I think the number was 157. Yeah, 157 of Matt Stafford's 279 yards were going to Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua. Demarcus Robinson had a couple touchdowns in this game. He played relatively well. But no, the Rams have a serious shot. If they're able to go up next week against the Seattle Seahawks, they could take a shot at leading the NFC West, which is pretty crazy because of the amount of injuries. Offensive line banged up. Pass rush, the defense was always pretty bad. They did a pretty good job getting to Sam Darnold, being able to sack the quarterback a few times in this game. So I was very, very impressed with the way the Rams played. And you're right. I don't think Sam Darnold had a bad game at all. He actually played relatively well. I also thought defensively, Jonathan Grenard had a tremendous game. A couple pass deflections, getting pressure on the quarterback. He did a great job. Although, here's the shocking part that I think. An offensive line that is completely battered and bruised. It's slowly getting healthy, but they still have a couple people on the IR, the Rams do. They did not suffer a single sack. Matt Stafford never hit the turf a single time, which is pretty crazy. He did throw a bad interception, overthrow it to Demarcus Robinson on the left side on an out route. I'll take that completely once you throw 4 touchdowns and also complete 25 of 34 passes. I'll take that 100%. So to have those 2 wide receivers out there prove that the Rams, they were never a bad team. They were just really, really injury prone. A lot of players down. The top 2 receivers down. Running back, not great. Offensive line is completely trashed. Defense, not great. That's also banged up. Now everybody's getting healthy. We're seeing what the Rams could actually be. On the Viking side of it, though, I want to bring you in here. The Viking side of it. What happened to Brian Flores' defense?
I know. I was going to point that out. They've gone from giving up 15 points a game to 30 points a game. They've gone from giving up 330 yards a game to 380 yards per game. They've fallen apart. What's happened?
I think it's because people are now starting to figure out that Brian Flores' claim to fame this year is stack the box and blitz. Just keep blitzing. Keep getting pressure. I will hand the Rams this. They had their best run stop in this game. They allowed only 2.9 rush yards per play, which is actually the second worst the Vikings have had all season. But if we remember, the worst was 2.7 rush yards per play against the Jets, but Aaron Rodgers threw that game away overseas. So there was an opportunity, and in the second half, with Aaron Jones out, the Jets had an opportunity to come back in that game and fell short. So if Rodgers didn't throw that game away, we could have seen 2 times where the Vikings did not have an effective run game, and they've fallen.
Now, well, the Rams have got to find a way to make their defense better. They've given up 174 points so far this year. They only scored 144. I think part of Minnesota's problem on defense was those 2 receivers out there.
Yeah.
That was new, and they didn't expect Nacua to be in the game. That was a surprise. We didn't expect it either. I didn't. If he'd been in there, maybe I would have picked the Rams. But I think the McVay, he's a good coach too. I correct myself on Stafford. He had 4 TDs last night. He only had 3 in the previous 6 games. Yes. I said 6. I had it backwards. So he only had 3 TDs, so he had more TDs in one game than he had all season prior to that. And it's the wide receivers. If those guys 100%. Can stay healthy, I think the Rams will they'll be in first place here next week after they play the
We'll see how the Seahawks
play the
Seahawks next week.
McVay, now he's the winningest coach in Rams history with 80 wins. He got crazy. That last night. Is the first win for him over O'Connell, who was the Rams OC on the Super Bowl team 3 years ago. Minnesota lost their left tackle, Darrisaw. That might have had that's brutal, right? He had a knee injury late in the first half, and that may have had a bearing on this game. Williams scored a TD in each of his 10th consecutive game for the Rams. That's pretty cool. The Vikings hadn't allowed a TD in the first quarter all season. And the Rams hadn't scored on their first drive all season. And both those things were reversed last night with the Rams getting 2 DDs in the first quarter. The Vikings' next game versus the Colts, they host the Colts. Seems like they ought to win that one. And the Rams at Seattle, I think the Rams have a good chance to win that one too.
I would agree, especially with Kupp and Nacua back. But I'll say this, yes, while the Rams' defense in totality, and the numbers say this, is not anywhere close to even middle of the pack, I will say, though, there are some diamonds in the rough there, especially the rookie Jared Verse. He's been an absolute tear. He's ranked 9th in hurries and 6th in total pressures as a rookie. I mean, he's tearing up. He had a great game in this one as well. He had a crucial sack late. It was it's 2nd and 8 in the fourth quarter, late in the fourth quarter, on the Minnesota 44-yard line. They punted a play later. So he's able to come up big, create some serious stops in key moments. So I would say Jared Verse, for Defensive Rookie of the Year, he probably, I would say, has a serious shot at that. I was very impressed with the Rams. I picked them in this game, and I will say this just increases the streak, and now it could actually continue this week if the Cowboys lose to the Niners, that every team that played the Lions, their following game they lose. That's a consistent streak that's happened all year. The 49ers were like that last year. The Lions this year, they're the team that has that, where if you play them and the following game you lose no matter what. They very well could be a 7-0 in that regard. So far, it's 6 straight games. The Cowboys had a bye week last week. That's why that didn't continue, but it can because they play the 49ers this week, which we're going to talk about later, and Dak Prescott has not done well in recent history against the 49ers. So that could continue. But I would say we mentioned it last week. Game-winning field goal the Lions had against the Vikings, and we both agreed that this probably doesn't take them out of the true contender slot. I think that this does.
Really?
I think this.
It's still 5-2.
Correct. They're 5-2. But
the Lions are 5-1, so they're only 1 game behind.
I understand. And yes, you could win a division, but I'm talking about how far can you actually go. We have to remember a few years ago, 2022, the Vikings were 11-0 in 1-score games. Yeah. Well, first playoff game, what do they do? Lose to Daniel Jones.
Yeah, well, I said last week, or last show, that there's rumors that the Vikings wanted to trade for Matthew Stafford. That ain't going to happen now.
No. And I also don't think Cooper Kupp's going anywhere. There was serious trade rumors about Cooper Kupp being traded away. I don't think that's happening now. I would say he's too much of a valuable asset, and we saw it in this game. Just for him being out there with Nacua, drawing people away, coming up with a. He didn't even have that great of a game. I think he had 50 yards in this game. Didn't have a tremendous
touchdown.
game. He did have a touchdown. Demarcus Robinson had 2 touchdowns in this one. I would say I was very impressed. Kyron Williams also had a great game. He had 97 yards in this game, 23 carries.
He had a
played
touchdown.
extremely well.
He caught a touchdown pass.
Yeah, Nacua, 7 catches, over 100 yards. I mean, the Rams offense was clicking on all cylinders. So if this is the Rams team that we're going to see moving forward, they've screwed me over several times when picking them for a Harvey hot hand. I feel confident to say that if everybody's healthy and they keep playing like this, especially against a defense like the Vikings, I could start winning some games if I decide to pick the Rams. So yeah, we'll see though. The Rams have a serious opportunity to take control of this season and bounce back next week against the Seattle Seahawks at Seahawks. It's going to be a pretty brutal game if they can somehow pull out this win. I expect the Seahawks to be favored.
It's a tough place to play in Seattle.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, because that as you always talk about,
the 12th fan.
Yeah, exactly.
The 12th player.
Yeah,
it's the fan.
So,
and the way that stadium is built, it kind of covers it leans in and it keeps the sound in it. It's very loud there.
I would say the Vikings have a little bit of an easy road moving forward. Their next 3 games versus Colts, at Jaguars, at Titans. The toughest defense you play is at Titans, but they don't have any sort of an offense. Yeah. So I expect the Vikings to bounce back as well, especially going up against the Colts. Colts aren't that great. Sunday Night Football, by the way, next week.
I think most people expected him to beat the Rams, so.
Oh, absolutely. Except me. I had the Rams winning. Trust the streak here. Let's get into our next topic here. We never talk about baseball, but the World Series is now upon us tonight, 8:08 on Fox. It'll be the Yankees at the Dodgers. The Dodgers nearly 2-run favorites against the Yankees. The Dodgers have pulled out something interesting so far in the playoffs. A couple bullpen games, no starters, new pitcher, kind of every inning or every 2 innings. It's had some success. They lost one of those games against the Mets. But yeah, no, the Dodgers winning their NLCS matchup against the Mets, while the Yankees were able to close it out in 5 games against the Guardians. I want to know, though, who do you think will come out on top? Will the Yankees end their cold streak of not winning a World Series since 2009, or will the Dodgers be able to pull it out when it's all said and done?
East Coast versus West Coast. My takeaway is this is the battle of the superstars, right? The Yankees have Judge, Soto, Stanton, and the pitchers Cole and Rodon. The Dodgers have Ohtani, Freeman, Betts, and Yamamoto and Kershaw. I think the 2-3-2 series setup favors the Dodgers. I don't like that 2-3-2 setup. I really don't. I think that really favors the away team, and I don't know. That's going to be tough for the Yankees. I do think, though, the potentially, and I say potential because it might be warmer than we think. I think Thursday's supposed to be 80 degrees, so potential cold weather would favor New York because the Dodgers are a warm weather team. The Dodgers have 12 consecutive playoff appearances with 11 division titles and 5 100-win seasons since 2017. That's pretty impressive. And the 2020 title, but that was the COVID year. This is a little odd. Dave Roberts has the highest winning percentage of any manager in Major League history right now. 3 reasons I think the Dodgers can win: the depth of their lineup. They've got Muncy. In addition to the superstars I just mentioned, they have Muncy, who reached base 12 consecutive plate appearances in the NLCS. Ohtani reached base 17 times in that same series, and Tommy Edman wound up being the MVP of the NLCS. So that shows the kind of depth they have. Mookie Betts, he had a 0-for-22 slump, but that seems to be behind him. Freeman had a week to rest his sprained ankle here with the break time. Teoscar Hernandez and Will Smith looked a little better in the NLCS Game 6. And Kiki Hernandez, somehow he seems to play way over his head in October. So I think the strength of their depth and of their lineup is a plus. To the strength of their bullpen too. They have rest is allowed their lineup of 3 starting pitchers. So they probably only need 1 bullpen game. So. And even if they do, they have 6 really good relievers. Brazier is one of their good relievers. Hey, I mean, he was crap for the Red Sox. I don't know how he winds up doing so well for the Dodgers, but he's been strong for them. Banda is their only left-hander, and that's a weakness for them. Hudson, Phillips, Kopech, and Trinan round out the top 6 there. That's a strength for them. They have an experienced roster. 10 players who played in the 2020 World Series are with them. The weaknesses, I'd say the lack of left-handed pitching. That could hurt them a lot. Bander is a really only left-handed reliever. There's another guy who's been hurt. He may be back, but Bander really is the only left-hander that's been playing in the postseason that much. How will the Dodgers pitch Judge and Soto? Soto does his damage up and in the strike zone. He's got a hard time with the low in and out pitches. Doesn't close out, doesn't chase anything outside the zone, so that's a strength of his. They got to be aware of that. And Judge hits middle in fastballs. If they can't pitch that to him, or he'll hit it out. The Dodgers hit 80 points higher against lefties. They have 15 of 20 playoff homers came against lefties, so that's going to be tough for the Yankees when they got their lefties in there. The Yankees try to win the World Series time for first time in 15 years. Juan Soto was 11 years old the last time they won the World Series. Mariano Rivera and Derek Jeter were on that team. I think they need to win now because who knows where Soto's going to be next year. He might not be back, but knowing the Yankees, they're probably going to find a way to sign Soto. I think the reasons the Yankees can win, the starting rotation, Cole, Rodon, Schmidt, and Gill, they got 4, so they don't really need a bullpen game. The stress at the top of the lineup that the Dodgers will face having to go up against Gleyber Torres, who has a 400 on base percentage in the playoffs. Soto's 11 for 33, 3 homers, and over 1,000 OPS. Judge, he hasn't really done anything in the playoffs, having been the best hitter in baseball during the regular season. He needs to get it going. If he does, I think the Yankees will probably win. Stanton has 5 homers and over almost a 1,200 OPS. I'd say Judge is due. He's going to have. I think he'll probably play well in the World Series. He led the majors with homers, RBIs, on base percentage, slugging percentage, and WAR. I think the Yankees are vulnerable. Their bullpen not as strong as the Dodgers. They need the starters to go deep. I think that will be the strategy for them. I think pitching to Ohtani and Betts is going to be tough for them as well. Who's going to win? It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. The 2-3-2, I think, favors the Dodgers. But, much as I dislike the Yankees. I mean, I don't like the Yankees. I'm a Red Sox fan. I've never liked Aaron Boone, really, because he hit that home run against the Red Sox back in 2003 to win the ALCS in extra innings. And I was at that game, by the way. But I'm picking the Yankees in 7.
The Yankees in 7.
Yeah. I want it actually for Grandpa. I think he'd love to see him win, too.
Absolutely, 100%.
I'm way in on that, too. And I wouldn't mind seeing Aaron Boone win one. Just, he's had such a tough time, man, and so much frustration in his tenure as the Yankees manager. So
you got Yankees.
It'd be nice to see Judge win a World Series, too. I do like Aaron Judge.
If I'd ask you, who do you think is the best player in this World Series? Single player.
Ohtani.
I agree. If you were to round out the top 5 players, would you say that the Dodgers or the Yankees have more star power? Because you put Ohtani
top
number
5
1.
Players, I would have to say.
Let's break it down.
This is all their players?
Every single player that they got.
Okay, well, I'd say it's the Dodgers. I think it's the Dodgers. Ohtani, Freeman, Betts, Yamamoto, and Kershaw.
So that's your order? 1 through 5 would be... I'm talking about both teams. Your 1 through 5 would be 5 Dodgers.
Oh, no, I didn't understand your question.
So let's go down. The top 5 players in the entire... in this World Series.
Okay, well, I'd say it's Ohtani. Soto, okay. Yeah, because just Judge hasn't played well in the Stanton, Judge, Betts.
So you actually have the Yankees.
Oh, I'm sorry. I would say I put Freeman ahead of Betts. Yeah.
Freeman. So okay. So it's
Ohtani, Soto,
Stanton, Judge,
Freeman.
Wow. So you actually have more Yankees in your top 5 than Dodgers. I would actually say that my top 5 would be Ohtani, Judge, Juan Soto, Betts, and Freeman. I would not put Stanton in there.
Stanton's had 5 home
I
runs in the
understand.
playoffs. He plays great in the playoffs. He's at 1,200 OPS.
He's my number 6. He's my number 6. For one, Mookie Betts is shaking off the rust. I think that's massive. He has 4. You talk about Judge having 5, or excuse me, Stanton having 5 homers. Betts has 4.
Yeah.
Also 12 RBIs as well. Yeah. Soto, he was actually one of the key people to actually get the Yankees into the World Series. He had that crazy 3-run home run in Game 5 to basically seal the game. You have Judge you have Judge in number 4. Judge is not good in the postseason. He has a .161 average in the playoffs. Yes, he is due, but how many times are we going to say that? He's had over 50 postseason games. When is he going to be due? We don't know if it's going to be Game 1, Game 6, or 3 years from now. Yeah. We have no idea because he just doesn't come up big. How is Garrett Cole going to be? He had a tremendous regular season. Carlos Rodon, he's had a good year as well. Also, Luke Weaver. He's a tremendous closer for him, although sometimes he's pitching more innings than some of the starters now.
Yeah, well, I think it was a smart move by the manager of the Yankees.
Boone? The guy you were praising earlier?
Yeah.
While hating on?
Boone. It was a smart move of him to move Weaver to the closer and ahead of Holmes. Weaver's been great.
I'm going to take the Dodgers. I'm going to take the Dodgers in 7. Because I think Ohtani will get it done as he has been getting it done. I think Mookie Betts will continue his relative hot streak. I think that the Yankees at some point, they're not going to be as home run dominant as they have been. I mean, they're taking teams and taking them out of the ballpark with the amount of home runs they're hitting. I think pitching-wise, this is where I'm actually a little bit nervous. Jack Flaherty, serious issue. Serious issue. His velocity has dropped 2 miles an hour. More velocity equals better pitcher. You're dropping off 2 miles an hour. That could be a lot of fatigue. He pitched 3 innings against the Mets, 8 runs. 8 runs allowed. That's an issue. So when it comes down to it, I think the Dodgers, their pitching is tired. You could tell. That's why they're doing bullpen games. They're trying to keep their guys as fresh as possible.
They've had a week to rest now, though.
I understand, but still, though, you're pitching a long time. You need to. You're still putting in bullpen games. That's my only worry, though. But I am going to take the Dodgers here. I think the Yankees at some point, they're going to hit a wall. And now it may not be a brick wall where they completely fall apart, because I did say Dodgers in 7. But I think that when you talk about the pure star power, I think Ohtani's the best player in baseball. I think Judge is right there next to him as well, because he's had a tremendous season as well. I think he's actually above Ohtani in WAR during the regular season. But I think when it comes down to it, Ohtani will hit a couple home runs. Betts will continue it. Having Freddie Freeman out there is massive. I think fielding-wise, I think the Dodgers have the upper hand. They don't chase. That's the Mets' problem. The Phillies used to chase everything, and that was putting in the Mets' favor. If the Yankees have trouble locating pitches in the strike zone, the Dodgers are going to stand there and just take it. They're going to do that all day, every day. I think that if your best player struggles in the postseason and you're able to work around Stanton hitting 5 home runs, I think the Dodgers, the Yankees, right now, they're facing the best pitching they've seen in the postseason. And I think when it comes down to it, Stanton is not going to be just giving balls down the middle of the plate or inside. He's going to smack him out of the park. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Yamamoto is going to play very well, because he's going to be a crucial asset in this. Game 1's going to be very, very important, because if the Dodgers don't pick up Game 1, then I'm nervous. Flaherty pitches, I think, Game 2. That's going to be where I'm going to be shaking in my boots a little bit.
Who do you think the MVP is?
Oh, it's going to be Ohtani. Ohtani or Betts is probably going to be the MVP.
I say it's Soto.
I'll also say this. You mentioned him earlier. Yeah, how about this guy? Fill-in replacement piece, Kike Hernandez. Bombs away crucial hits when it matters. Yeah. I mean, he did that with the Red Sox as well during that 2022 run, I believe.
Yeah, he had
the Red Sox. The only runs were home runs.
That's right. He could not miss there for a while, and then he went cold.
Yeah.
And when he went cold, so did the Red Sox.
Exactly. I was just thinking Tommy Edman, he had a great NLCS series. So
MVP.
Yeah, no, I'm going to take the Dodgers to win once again. Unfortunately, the Yankees fall short once again at winning.
I think
another pennant.
Soto is going to be awesome in this series.
He's been awesome.
And he's won a World Series before with Washington.
That's true.
He was awesome in that series. So I think he's going to he's playing for a new contract.
That is true.
That usually has something to do with players playing well in the postseason when they're looking at that giant contract coming due. And if they star, then they get a little more money. So I think Soto will be the MVP.
Ohtani's first season with the Dodgers, already in a World Series. He's built for these moments. He's
His
the best
first
player
World
in baseball.
Series, his first playoffs, right? They never made the playoffs with the Angels.
I believe that.
I don't think he ever made the playoffs.
So Ohtani already is built for these moments. He is not fearful of the big time moment. Yeah. He lives in it. He thrives in it. And guess what? I think baseball is a sport, because there's very, very few sports that could be relied on only on one player. If you're truly elite, and we've seen this a few times, the NBA, you could do that. LeBron James sent the Cavaliers in 2018 to an NBA Finals. He did get swept, but just leading them there was impressive enough. Steph Curry in the NBA Finals 2022 against the Boston Celtics. He was the sole reason why they won. Yeah, Wiggins had a couple good games, but Curry dropping 40, and especially in the fourth quarter, coming up big, dominating the Celtics late, putting them to sleep. There are a few sports. I think Ohtani, now here's the crazy part. I don't think the Dodgers will need Ohtani to be the only person because they have Betts, because they have Freeman. They have so many players. Will Smith as well. They got so many people that they can rely on. Kike Hernandez, Tommy Edman. I would say when it's all said and done, you talk about that star power, I'm taking the Dodgers over the Yankees. Dodgers in 7. That's my pick.
We will see. We disagree. One of us will be right.
Yeah. So we'll wait and see. Coming up, though, we're going to take a quick break. Coming up, 49ers. Can they bounce back against the Dallas Cowboys, or will the Cowboys finally stop the bleeding and Dak Prescott looks competent against a very, very good team? Also, Week 8, we make our picks and predictions. And my Harvey Hot Hand. We had a losing week, but I feel good about this week. We're taking risks here. We need to. We screw playing safe. I'm going to talk about that right after this.
Traveling can be a nightmare. Why? You can't watch your favorite shows abroad. You can't trust public Wi-Fi spots anymore. And when you return, roaming bills kill your vibe. Unless you get a NordVPN and Saley deal. NordVPN will increase your privacy online. And Saley, a global eSIM data app, will save you from those unexpected roaming charges. Grab the 2-year NordVPN deal with 76% off and get up to 20 gigabytes Saley eSIM data gift.
Whether you're just discovering your voice or taking your show to the next level, you know what the world needs to hear. All you have to do is say it. With Spotify, set up your podcast. Your food podcast. Your mindfulness podcast. Your never thought you'd get this far podcast. And watch those sparks fly.
I put a picture of the comment.
Drop the episode anywhere people listen. And find out who they're cooking with. Where they're finding inner balance, and why they love your show. You're already a creator. Now you can create, connect, and get paid for your passion with one single free tool. Spotify for podcasters. Talk where the world listens.
Welcome back to the Harvey Hour. My name's Stephen Harvey. It's great to have you in today on a Friday. As always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. Let's get into our next topic of today's show. So it looks like it'll be once again Dak Prescott up against the San Francisco 49ers. The Cowboys coming off of a bye week, but the last time we saw them on an NFL field, they were getting blown out by Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions, while the San Francisco 49ers took a brutal loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. Brock Purdy throwing 3 interceptions, while the defense actually was able to take the ball away twice from Mahomes throwing 2 picks, but still fell by 10 points. Purdy throwing interception every single time in Kansas City territory. Not ideal if you want to win games. 49ers are in a bit of danger spot right now because they are currently, which is crazy to say, tied for last in the NFC West, which is pretty crazy with the amount of talent they have. They're dealing with injuries, though. It looks like Ayuk's out for the year. Deebo Samuel dealing with pneumonia. George Kittle also dealing with an injury. They got injuries all over. I want to know, do you think that the Cowboys could finally stop the bleeding out of recent years, or will the San Francisco 49ers keep the status quo and be able to shut down the Dallas Cowboys?
My takeaway here is both teams close to pushing the panic button with unexpected poor play, with Dallas 3-3, 3 home losses. Who would have thought that? And the 49ers at 3-4. I think this can be seen as a must-win for both teams. Really, a must-win for both of them. Dallas coming off a bye, maybe that helps them a little bit with 2 weeks rest to prepare. Their season marked by injuries and inconsistent performance. The plus for the Cowboys, they're undefeated on the road. But they're going up against the 49ers. Last time they played them at the 49ers. They got creamed. So I don't know. The 49ers, on the other hand, seem to have some sort of Super Bowl hangover. And they are also have a lot of injuries. CMC has not played a game yet this season. But interestingly, ranked 7th in rushing with Jordan Mason, 2nd in rushing with 667 yards, although he's a little banged up. He may not play in this game. I think to win, the Cowboys need to limit the explosive plays and stop the run. And stopping the run has not been their forte this year so far. They're allowing 143 yards a game and 180 yards or more in 3 of those games. They need to get the 49ers in third down situations where right now the 49ers rank 27th. And I think that will be tough because I don't know if Micah Parsons might play. So
he's ruled out, actually.
Has he been ruled out?
Yeah.
So that's going to be tough for the Cowboys. Their run, their ability to stop the run has really hurt them. They don't put teams in the third down situation so their pass rush can let loose. So I think protecting Dak Prescott from the 49ers rush is going to be big in this game as well. It includes Bosa, Floyd, and Collins. Dak only has 8 TDs so far, 6 interceptions. He really has not gotten it going. I think the matchups here, the Cowboys against the 49ers, the Cowboys pass offense versus the passing defense of the 49ers. The Cowboys are 2nd in pass offense, and the 49ers are 15th against in their pass D. The rushing offense versus the rushing defense, the Cowboys have the worst rushing offense in the league at 32nd, only 77 yards. The 49ers against the rush, they're 12th, giving up 112 yards. The Cowboys rushing D versus the 49ers rushing offense. The rushing D, the Cowboys are 27th, giving up 143 yards. I think I mentioned that. 49ers, they're 7th, their rushing always at 150 yards a game. The passing D versus the 49ers passing O. The Cowboys 18th and the 49ers 4th. So I think this kind of favors the 49ers, and I think the 49ers are going to win the game. It's because they're playing at home and they're desperate. And the Cowboys, they just seem to be lost out there, and the injuries on defense are going to mean that the 49ers with a very good running game are going to take it to them again.
So you're choosing the 49ers here.
I
am too, because you know what? I got to start winning a lot of games here. And that's my big. I got to start winning again. And normally when you're confused about what's going on, stick to what you know. I always get told that stick to what you know. So what do we know? I think that's the big thing. What do we know about this matchup between the 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys? Well, since 2022, including the postseason, Dak Prescott has 3 touchdowns and 6 picks. He averages only 209 passing yards a game, averages 58% completion percentage. Guess what? These are his passing ratings in the 3 games since 2022. 51.6, 69.3, 63.6. By the way, as you could probably tell, they've lost 3 straight. So I don't think there's going to be any stoppage of bleeding anytime soon for Dak Prescott and these Dallas Cowboys. Because think about it. It seems like the 49ers have already figured out Dan Quinn's defense. Well, now Mike Zimmer's there, and the defense looks the same, if not worse. Because at least at that point, the defense could do a pretty good job on both sides of the ball, or both sides, passing and run defense. But now they can't stop the run. CMC will not play in this game, but I think Jordan Mason will have a day. I understand the top receivers that the 49ers have very well could be out in this game. And obviously, as we've seen Brock Purdy do when he doesn't have his Avengers, it's not great. But I think the key to this game is merely, will Brock Purdy throw this game away? I showed this last show. Brock Purdy throwing only a single interception, just one, where most top-tier quarterbacks can bounce back if they do a simple mistake like throw 1 interception. This is Brock Purdy, while only throwing 1. He wins less than half of his games, for nearly not even 43% of his games. Only 246.5 passing yards. His completion percentage is essentially 62%. He has 15 touchdowns to 22 picks in those games. He has a 78 passer rating. Brock Purdy, when he makes a simple mistake, throwing an interception, we just saw Matt Stafford. He threw one pick, he threw 4 touchdowns, able to upset the Minnesota Vikings, who have one of the best defenses, at least that's what we thought, with a banged-up offensive line and a defense ranked bottom of the league. The 49ers have a good defense. The 49ers have a good offensive line. The 49ers do not have a good running back, but the Rams, guess what? Kyrie Williams could not be extremely dominant. They have Blake Corum offensive. There's no excuse. Once again, I'll repeat it. If Brock Purdy is the quarterback that everybody says he is, yes, he is in year 3. But when we put him at the top, the upper echelon of quarterbacks, when we start talking about top 10 quarterbacks, we have to see some sort of face adversity and be able to overcome it. Brock Purdy rarely, if at all, does that. But there's a very fortunate side of this, because Jerry Jones did something fascinating. What has been a redeeming quality of the Dallas Cowboys this season? Has there been one? Seriously, has there been any redeeming quality? Well, now Jerry Jones decides, you know what? Let me not do my GM duties, which he hasn't done at all this year, including the offseason. Let's open up $40 tickets to basically create the facility into a zoo, where fans ordered $40 tickets, walk around the facility. And I think it was J-Ron Curse said that it was like being at a zoo. People walk along, look at you through a glass. That's how bad. Jerry Jones is worried about the fan experience. How about this? Easy. You don't need to make any more money if you start winning games. Then fans will come voluntarily. They don't need to be incentivized to, I can walk around the facility. This is cool. This is neat. This is new. I don't think that really matters. Worry about your production on the field.
Yeah.
Instead of what you're doing in the weight room, what you're doing on the practice facility, what you're doing. This is Jerry Jones worried about the wrong things. Mm-hmm. I'm taking the 49ers through and through. I'm not saying this is a blowout just because of the amount of injuries the 49ers have. But I'm going to say 4th straight loss, Dak suffers. By the way, like I said, he averages 2 interceptions in this game, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. I'm doing another 2-interception day for Dak Prescott. Mm-hmm. Bleeding does not stop.
Okay, well, I think the players to watch in this game, certainly you mentioned Dak Prescott. He's been forcing the ball a lot. I think he feels like the running game stinks. He knows it. So he's been thinking, I got to pass the ball more down the field, more accurately, and it really hasn't panned out very well for him. I think he needs to relax, take what the defense gives him, and play off that a little bit more. Dowdle, probably the best of their worst running backs. They have the worst rushing in the rushing offense in the league. Maybe he can show something, that would help them out a lot. And Bland now is going to make his first start of the season. He was great out there last year, intercepting the ball all the time. So I'm going to be watching those players. On the 49ers side of the ball, again, the quarterback handles the ball on every play, so you got to mention the quarterback on both sides when you talk about key players to watch. Brock Purdy, 9 TDs so far, 7 interceptions. Come on, Brock, what's going on? You were the winningest quarterback here when you first came out. Didn't lose a game there going into the playoffs when you first started. Now you've lost 4 games already this year. The team went to the Super Bowl last year. What's going on? You got to get it going here. Mason, you mentioned, the 49ers not having such a great running game. Well, he's number 2 in the league right now. He's got almost 700 yards rushing.
The 49ers had a bad running game.
I thought you mentioned they're not strong in the running game.
If you compare it to Christian McCaffrey,
well,
you're comparing Jordan Mason to CMC.
Do you think CMC would have more than 700 yards rushing so far this year? I don't think so.
I would say he would have 1,000 scrimmage yards already.
Plus, Mason's questionable, but I think he could be the difference maker if he gets out there. Debo, he needs a breakout game. He hasn't had one all year, but now he has some sort of pneumonia symptoms, so maybe he's not going to play. Jennings and Ayuk are out. Ayuk for the rest of the year, and Kittle's questionable, so this could be a close game just because of all the injuries, but I like the 49ers at home.
I'm very worried about Brock Purdy. Last 4 games, he's completing 57% of his throws, which is ranked 32 out of 35. 5 touchdowns, 6 picks.
Not good.
I'm a little bit worried about Brock Purdy. He's not playing as a lot of people thought he would. The system, because he relies heavily on the system. When a lot of the key contributors go out or are banged up, not 100%, Brock Purdy suffers the most. And I'll say it again. In order for him to be a true elite quarterback, he needs to be able to overcome that. this game will start. If he comes out and has a block party, throwing it all over the place, having fun, winning, putting up points, defenses will do whatever the defense does. The defense will do whatever Dak Prescott allows it to do. That'll be the key thing. If they're able to stop Rico Dowdle and Ezekiel Elliott, hell, I even saw something where Dalvin Cook may be able to make an appearance in this game. If they could just stop the running game, leave it all up to Dak Prescott, he's going to make a mistake. That's just how Dak Prescott runs against really good teams. He is going to make a mistake. Take advantage of that. And if Brock Purdy throws an interception, I'll put it up one more time. 43% chance to win. He wins 43% of his games.
I think they should just run the ball. I think the 49ers focus on the run.
They should
do the play action because the Cowboys can't stop the run, and the 49ers have the 7th best running attack in the league. And if Mason can play, it's going to I think that makes a difference for them.
I completely agree. So we'll see. We're both picking the 49ers to win. Are you picking them to cover as well? 4.5 point spread.
I am.
By the way, this was 3 a couple days ago. A lot of money coming on the 49ers.
Yep.
So you're taking them to win and cover?
Yeah, I am.
As am I. All right, we're going to not take a break. We'll move on to our next topic here. We do this every single week throughout the NFL season. We pick who will win and lose. This is our Week 8 picks. I actually had a pretty decent week last week in picking the games. I went 11-4. Let's move it over. There you go. 11-4, 8-7 in the point spread. Not great. But, it's okay. It's time to start winning games again. My win-loss has improved drastically, however, like I keep talking about. Point spread is still something that I'm getting screwed over a little bit. Very, very difficult to figure out, these point spreads. Quarterbacks moving on, what's exactly going to happen. But last night's game, as we talked about earlier on in the show, I did pick the Rams in an upset. 2.5 points, really not that big of an upset for me. I took the Rams, and I got that way to start off the week 8 1-0. But let's jump into Sunday's games. Cardinals at Dolphins. I'll take Tua, by the way, is coming back in this game. And the offense has looked anemic with Tyler Huntley out there and Skylar Thompson. Offense cannot get going. I think the most points they put up was 15 against the New England Patriots, with Jacoby Brissett out there for the Patriots, and it looked bad. The Patriots offense was actually ranked worse, and they somehow could not stop Tyler Huntley. So now that Tua's out there, this offense is kind of built for Tua. They work their best with Tua out there. I'll take the Dolphins, shockingly. The Cardinals are too volatile for me, up and down. What exactly is going to happen? Tua normally beats up on bad teams. I'll take Tua to win and cover a -4.5 point spread. The next one is Jets at the Patriots. Now, we actually made a mistake because we covered this the first matchup. We did it as a solo topic. And I actually talked both of us into picking the Patriots in the upset. I'm not making that mistake again. The Jets are better in every facet. Better quarterback, better offensive line, better running backs, better weapons, better defensive front, better cornerbacks. They're better in every way. The only thing they're not better at, although maybe you could argue that they are, is head coach. Gerard Mayo said that the Patriots are soft, could not stop the run. Tank Bigsby ran all over the place. What's Breece Hall, who everybody thinks is a better running back than Tank Bigsby? What is Breece Hall going to do? And even Braylon Allen, what are they going to do against the Patriots defense that really does not do a good job against the run? I'll take the Jets, 7-point favorites. A lot of high point spreads this week. I'll take the Jets to win and cover a -7 point spread. Next one's Eagles at the Bengals. I'll take the Bengals to win and cover in this game. Joe Burrow has been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. You take out week 1, he's at the top, or very, very close to the top in basically every statistical category that there is for quarterbacks. He's been incredibly efficient. His defense, though, has been the major kind of deficit to the team. They can't stop anybody. We up against the Ravens, Joe Burrow was damn near perfect. The defense let Lamar Jackson go all over the place, and the Bengals should have won that game if it wasn't for a rookie punter botching a snap on a field goal. But the Eagles, though, this for me is more about the Eagles. What am I going to get from Jalen Hurts? What am I going to get from the offensive line of the Eagles? What's the defense going to do for me? Because I can't get a full grasp on what the Eagles are. Yes, Saquon Barkley did a great job last week against his former team in a revenge game. But I've also seen Jalen Hurts against Tampa Bay go 0 for 5 to start a game. We're going negative yardage, actually 0 yards throughout 1.5 quarters. That's an issue for me. I'll take the Bengals. Keep their offensive production high. I'll take the Bengals to win and cover a -2.5 point spread. The next one's the Packers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Packers still lead the league in explosive plays. Jordan Love has been an absolute tear, and he's played 2 fewer games. He's, I think, tied for first or tied for second in passing touchdowns. My only issue is interceptions. He's throwing way too many of them. He has to maintain ball control, and I think he'll even blow out teams even more than he has been if he just doesn't put the ball in harm's way, although that's kind of part of his game. He is that higher-risk quarterback, but it normally pays off for him. I'm incredibly impressed with the wide receiver core. They really have no monster-name guys like any of the top receivers you think about. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins, Tank Dell even. They don't have any of that. But Jalen Reed, what a season he had. What a couple. I mean, he's been on an absolute tear as well. Dontavian Wicks, Kraft as well. Josh Jacobs, he's kind of having an under-the-radar, really good season. Offensive line's holding up great. The defense, though, has been tremendous this season. I think when it comes down to it, though, Jacksonville's just not a good team. They got a good win last week against the Patriots in London at home, which they are normally great at. So I'm taking the Packers here. They continue their great streak in a very competitive NFC North. They win and cover a minus 3.5 point spread. The next one's the Falcons at the Buccaneers. Remember last time we saw this Monday Night Football overtime game? Kirk Cousins throwing, was it over 400 yards, over 500 yards? I forget, but he had an absolute crazy game. Yeah, it was over 500 yards. Overtime touchdown, inside route throw, break up the field. It was a great play. Great game, though. Baker Mayfield versus Kirk Cousins. However, the Bucs are without probably Mike Evans, they're without Mike Evans for a number of weeks. Chris Godwin's out for the entire season. I mean, it's gonna be impressive if the Bucs can even keep this close. I will give Baker Mayfield this, though. The Falcons' pass rush is non-existent, even though they have some really good pass rushers like Grady Jarrett, like Matthew Judon. They actually blitz at one of the highest rates in the NFL, but they have the worst quarterback pressure percentage in the NFL. That math does not add up. So maybe the DC of the Falcons should maybe tone down the pressure or tone down the amount of blitzes, put more people in coverage because it just isn't working. Normally is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, this is broke and you're still going with it. That's an issue. However, I think Kirk Cousins will do what he has been doing. Still ball out, play pretty well. I'll take the Falcons in a win. Cover a minus 2.5 points by win on the road at Tampa Bay. Next one's the Ravens at the Browns. It looks like Jameis Winston will be starting this game since Deshaun Watson ruptured his Achilles. By the way, successful surgery today. I'm taking Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens to take control of this game, dominate, and beat the Browns. I think Jameis Winston is an upgrade over Deshaun Watson. I think DTR is an upgrade over Deshaun Watson. But you were going up against the Baltimore Ravens. And honestly, the Browns have given Lamar Jackson some trouble. Not a lot, some trouble. But I think Lamar will still get it done. The Ravens have figured out their offense. First couple weeks, it was like, well, how many times do we hand it off to Derrick Henry? Should we hand it off to him a lot? Although then John Harbaugh says, we didn't bring him here to carry it 30 times. Okay, well, let's tone it down a little bit. Let's do about 20, and this is the Ravens offense we're getting. The defense, the pass defense still scares me a little bit because they're very, very close to the bottom of the league in pass defense, but it looks like Nick Chubb's back. However, the Ravens, I believe, have the number one running defense in the NFL. So no team will run against the Ravens because it doesn't work, or the passing game is so open that they just elect to pass it a bunch. I'm taking the Ravens here, though. Extremely dominant. Offense is clicking. I trust the head coach more. I trust John Harbaugh more than I do Kevin Stefanski. But if this game is somehow close, or even if you're up double digits in the fourth quarter, we could see a trend that we've seen since Lamar Jackson got there, or since John Harbaugh got there, actually, of blown fourth quarter double-digit leads. But I don't think that'll exactly happen. I'll take the Ravens here. They're too good. If they're going to go out and get the number one seed, they need to start winning consecutive games here. They need to keep going on this hot streak because it doesn't look like the Chiefs are slowing down anytime soon. Chiefs win, cover a minus 8.5 point spread. The next one, division game. Colts against the Texans, minus 4.5 point spread. I'm a little bit nervous about picking this game, but this is merely who's the better quarterback. And that is clearly C.J. Stroud. Anthony Richardson out there nearly cost them the game. Incredibly inaccurate. He doesn't score a lot of touchdowns through the air. He's more of a Madden player in my eyes. Take it back, just deep shots all day, every day. I'm going to take C.J. Stroud here. I understand Nico Collins dealing with an injury, and the offense does look a little bit different, but with Joe Mixon out there, I mean, we saw against the Patriots, incredibly dominant. Oh, just dish it off to Joe Mixon. Let him run it up the gut. I'll take the Texans here. I don't think a lot of people actually have the Colts either keeping this close or upsetting the Texans. I've seen it in a bunch of places. I think there's an opportunity for the Texans to just blow out the Colts here. They're the better offense. They're the better team, better defense, better head coach. I'll take the Texans to win and cover a minus 4.5 point spread. Next one's the Titans at the Detroit Lions. Now this one's interesting. Are they going to go with Mason Rudolph? Will Levis is questionable. I'm not exactly sure, but what I do know is that the Titans were up 10-0 against the Buffalo Bills as 9.5 point underdogs, and they choked the game away. They could not even cover a 9.5 point spread going up 10-0. The Lions, they're better than the Bills. They have a better defense than the Bills. They have a better offense than the Bills. So to me, this is, oh no, Lions are just going to take care of the Tennessee Titans. Now, me saying that, just watch. The Titans are either going to keep this game extremely close or potentially upset them. But I don't think that, I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I'm hoping Lions keep the status quo, go out there, dominate in this game. I'll take the Lions to win and cover 11.5 point spread. Normally I don't take these, but Lions are that good. Next one, Saints of the Chargers. Chargers favored by 7 points. Spencer Rattler is going out there once again with Derek Carr actually on as doubtful in this game. But to me, it doesn't matter. Spencer Rattler is probably going to be the quarterback. I'll take the Chargers here. I think at some point the Chargers need to get their offense going in the second half. They average the fewest points in the second half of the season. That's an issue. That's a serious issue. They really got to tone that up a little bit. Get Justin Herbert going. I mean, Justin Herbert threw for over 300 yards. But it didn't seem like that because the game was so damn close against a bad defense that the Cardinals had, and they actually lost that game. If it wasn't for a fumble, then maybe the game changes, but to me, the Chargers got to figure out some way to get a nice offensive flow going. Their defense is doing a very good job this season, so I'm hoping Justin Herbert gets it going in the second half, starts lining things up. I think Spencer Rattler under pressure, he's one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. He's a rookie. I mean, what are we supposed to expect there? Give me the Chargers -7. I'll swallow the points there and have them beat up. Now, this one I'm actually nervous about. Bills -3 point favorites against Seattle on the road. Seattle just had a great game last week against the Falcons. Blew them out of the water. Didn't seem very close. Geno Smith, good game. All around, the Seahawks played a tremendous game. The Bills, on the other hand, you go down 10-0 against the Titans. The Seahawks are better than the Titans. If that happens in this game, I'm afraid the Bills might not come back. Seriously. Although Amari Cooper already making a massive impact for the Bills. I think that's a huge asset to keep. James Cook's getting healthier. I think this is going to be a very close game, but I think the Bills pull it out late, barely cover the 3-point spread, but they do win on the road against Seattle. They cover a -3 point spread and win. The next one, upset alert here for me. It looks like and I had this even before the news was announced, the Bears against the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels is a game-time decision. I actually had the picks in before because I believe Mariota, what we saw last week, I know it was against the Panthers, and the Bears' defense is much better than the Panthers' defense is. Mariota had a great game. A really, really good game once Jaden Daniels went down with that rib injury. I don't think it'll matter what quarterback's out here. I think the Commanders will be able to go out here. I understand. You look at the name talent. You write each of the skill players between the Bears and the Commanders. You write them down on a piece of paper. I completely agree. I'm not going to fight you with it. The Bears do have more star power on a piece of paper, but the Commanders also have, I think, the best scoring offense in the NFL. So I think it won't really matter. I think the Commanders, it'll be a shootout game. I'm hoping that we get the number 1 overall pick versus the number 2 overall pick, but to me, it won't matter. I think Mariota will be able to get it done if he's out there. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be able to get it done if he's out there. I'll take the Commanders in an upset. They obviously cover +3 point spread. Give me the Commanders in an upset here. The Panthers at the Broncos, a -10.5 point spread for Bo Nix, a quarterback? Well, Bryce Young is the other quarterback there. Adam Thielen and Deontay Johnson are out in this game. So I think this will be, and also Pat Surtain has an opportunity to come back in this game. He's hands down. I think since Aiden Hutchinson's down, I think with the way Surtain's playing, he has an opportunity to be in a serious contention for a Defensive Player of the Year. But we'll have to see if he's out there and still dominates like he did before the injury. I'll take Bo Nix here. Bo Nix has toned down the turnovers, turned up the offensive production. What we've seen from Bo Nix this season is something that we really didn't see a lot of. His athleticism. He's actually very athletic, which is not something that a lot of the scouts, a lot of the analysts were talking about going into the draft. We heard a lot about his accuracy, his ability to find the open guy, his ability to win games. He's played a lot of games, a lot of experience. Nobody was really talking about his athletic ability, which we've seen in this game. He's pretty damn good. He's pretty athletic. I'll take the Broncos, massive favorites here. I'll take it, swallow the 10.5 points. I really think there's an opportunity for Bryce Young starting in this game, top 2 wide receivers to be down. Panthers may score less than 10 points in this game. Just going to throw it out there. Next one, Chiefs at the Raiders. I'm curious to see what the Mahomes rules are that Antonio Pierce talked about last season. I'm curious to see what it is now. Here's the opportunity. The Mahomes rules. I'm waiting. Antonio Pierce, show it to me. The only issue is you've Gardner Minshew at quarterback. You no longer have Devontae Adams. The Raiders keep talking trash before games. And what if teams still have not figured out Stop giving the Chiefs bulletin board material. They take it seriously. Shut your mouth before you play the Chiefs. You could talk trash after. Do not talk trash before the game, because Mahomes is serious about that. This entire team is serious about that. I'm expecting the Chiefs to absolutely blow out the Raiders here. Do not talk trash pregame, especially the week of, to Patrick Mahomes. Bad idea. Bad idea. I don't care about the injuries. I don't care about some of the negatives. Oh, Mahomes is playing poor. He has more interceptions than touchdowns. I don't care. He has the second most wins at Allegiant Stadium. The only guy that beats him is Derek Carr. So that's crazy when you think about it. An opposite team's quarterback has more wins in your home stadium than every quarterback that has started for you besides Derek Carr. And by the way, I think it's 6 wins. Derek Carr has 11. So there's an opportunity for Mahomes to pass him in a couple of years, which is ridiculous because there's just a turnstile of quarterbacks that the Raiders have. Maybe should have kept Derek Carr. Just going to throw it out there. All right, next one. Sunday Night Football. We cover this one. Cowboys at the 49ers. Cowboys won't stop the bleeding. 49ers just a better team overall. I don't care about the injuries again. Cowboys defense can't stop anything. Jerry Jones worried about creating a zoo environment essentially in the Cowboys facility just to get some revenue. I don't know why. They're the richest. They're the richest organization in the 4 major sports in the United States. You don't need to generate more revenue. How about this? You'll generate more revenue if you start winning games, start looking good, start actually living up to the hype, living up to America's team. You just haven't. How about this? You know what? I can kind of understand it now if you think about it. They just paid an undeserving quarterback $60 million a year. Maybe they do need to generate a little bit more revenue in order to pay off their debt of Dak Prescott being their quarterback. Maybe that's why. But no, the 49ers, I understand. Purdy had a terrible game. Normally, great teams that get embarrassed bounce back the following game. 49ers win and cover a -4.5 point spread. The next one is Giants at Steelers. Russell Wilson will start again, and he had a tremendous second half. We're all about honesty and integrity on this show. We got to be honest. Russell Wilson, the first half, we were looking spot on with our prediction and with our analysis of Russell Wilson. Then the second half, we turned into kind of clowns because Russell Wilson was incredibly dominant in the second half. But Daniel Jones, primetime games, he's terrible. I think he might have 1 win or he has 0 wins. It's one or the other. But he is garbage in primetime. I'm going to take the Steelers here to win and cover. 5.5 point favorites. Now the points was obviously moved. This was made a couple hours ago. So all odds are brought to you by FanDuel. But give me this here. Give me the Steelers. Primetime game. Mike Tomlin keeps the streak on for Daniel Jones. He ends up losing once again another primetime game. Steelers cover and win a -5.5 point spread. 11-4. By the way, we tied on the record again in week 7.
We tied on the point spread too.
Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. So your picks now.
And these, go back to yours for a second there. And these, we only differ on one. That's the Bears and Washington.
Really?
Yeah. And
well, the point spread for yours is different with
the point spread. Man, I'm talking about win-loss here. We only differ on one. You won last night. I lost. So if the Bears don't win, then there's no way I can tie you. At least. So we'll have to see what happens.
Finally.
You know what? I don't really care. I'd rather see Washington win. The only reason I picked the Bears is I heard that Daniels wasn't going to be able to play, and now he's questionable. So we'll see. I said the Bears would have a poor season. So far, they've proven me wrong. But this could be the game that turns the tide. I don't know. Okay, so to get going here, Cardinals at the Dolphins. Tua's playing, so I'm picking the Dolphins. The Dolphins power ranking at 25. The Cardinals at 21. I think that the Cardinals on any given Sunday they might be able to win. They've shown that, and with Kyler Murray actually playing pretty well, and they have a Harrison now, the rookie or wide receiver looks pretty good. So this could be a very close game. I do have the Dolphins covering only because they're playing at home and Tua is starting, and I think that will give them a boost. Jets at the Patriots. This could be close. I mean, the Jets are really the fans got to be very upset with them. 2-4, the power ranking all the way down to 24. The Patriots 1-6, their power ranking 31. They aren't that far behind the Jets. Actually, they're playing at home. Drake May looking pretty good. He actually both games he's played well. It's been the defense has been unexpectedly poor. Last year, they were number one defense against the run in the NFL for the season. This year, they can't stop the run. I don't know what's wrong. It's coaching because they got the same personnel out there. So they got to find a way to fix that. If they did, they might be competitive. They might have a chance to upset the Jets, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Jets will find a way to win and get to an amazing 3-4.
Amazing.
Yeah, amazing 3-4 for them. The Eagles at the Bengals. The Eagles, inconsistent team so far. They're winning ugly when they do win, except for that first game, which was exciting in Brazil. Their power ranking at 11. The Bengals actually ranked lower at 19 and 3-4 on their record. They got to win this game. I mean, they've lost 4 games already. They've got to show that they can come back now. And this is a game they got to win, and they're at home, and I think they will, covering the point spread at 2.5. Green Bay at the Jaguars. I think the Green Bay a prohibitive favorite at 5-2 and a number 5 in the power rankings. Point spread 3.5. I think they'll cover. The Jaguars are almost pitiful team, 2-5, ranked 27th in the power ranking. I'm surprised Doug Peterson hasn't been fired. The Falcons at the Buccaneers. The last game between these two was very exciting, with Kirk Cousins throwing for over 500 yards. Baker Mayfield also having a very good game. I picked the Falcons principally because the Buccaneers wide receivers core is decimated now with Evans and Godwin both out, and Godwin out for the year. Once Evans got hurt, Baker Mayfield became frazzled and threw a couple of picks last week. So power ranking has the Bucs ahead at 10 versus the Falcons at 16. But I think with those injuries to the wide receivers, you're going to see the Falcons find a way to win this game. The Ravens against the Browns. Again, the Ravens a prohibitive favorite with their ground and pound running game. They're going to steamroll the Browns. And the Browns now, with the Watson out for the year, their power ranking at 30, their record at 1-6. The Ravens at 5-2, 8.5 points should be pretty easy to cover. I think that's an insult that the Ravens have a power ranking of 4.
Yeah.
To me, they should be much higher than that.
I agree with you there.
I don't understand how that is, how the Bills are ahead of them in the power rankings. It makes no sense to me. The Colts at the Texans. I like the Texans, principally, as you mentioned, C.J. Stroud, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and Richardson, probably one of the worst. The Colts do have a winning record at 4-3, and their power ranking at 20. The Texans, though, number 7 power ranking, they have a very good defense too, man. Will Anderson, he's a beast, and a record at 5-2. I think they'll win. The Lions and the Titans, Titans at Lions. The Titans, amazing 1-5 record, power ranking of 29, going against the Super Bowl maybe bound Lions, 5-1, the number 2 power ranking. I think it's pretty easy to cover the. It's 11.5 point spread now. I think of the Lions at home, the way they played against Dallas, the Titans should be pretty easy to beat. Although the Titans have probably a much better defense than Dallas, but I do think the Lions are going to win this one. And the Saints against the Chargers. Chargers at home. I think they'll cover. The Chargers have got their defense. The injuries, those players have recovered now. They're out there. They've been winning now with the players back. They're at 3-3. The Saints at 2-5, and their power ranking at 22. With Rattler out there, I don't think he's going to get it done against the Chargers. And Justin Herbert, and he's going to have some breakout games here pretty soon. So I think the Chargers will cover. The Bills against the Seahawks. I agree with you. This is a dangerous game. The Seahawks at home, 4-3 record. They've lost 3 in a row. They desperately want to win. The power ranking at 12. The Bills 5-2. They just picked up
Cooper,
yeah. He's going to make a difference for them. He's a very good receiver. Him and Josh Allen together is going to be something special, I think. I do think the Bills will find a way to win and cover. Bears at the Washington. I'd rather see Washington win. I'm picking the Bears only because I thought Justin Daniels wouldn't play. But as you mentioned, Marcus Mariota was great when he got out there. But Marcus Mariota has been an inconsistent quarterback, and that's why he's a backup quarterback now. Washington has a great offense, number 9 in the power rankings, 5-2 record. The Bears 4-2. Their power ranking is bumped up all the way to 14 now. And I think they'll. I've got them. I'm picking them and getting it done at -3 on the road. I'd rather see Washington win, actually. The Panthers at the Broncos. I like the Bo Nix's style out there. They talk about his accuracy, but I haven't seen much of it yet, man. The ball's going to kind of going all over the place. He is much more athletic than we thought, and he brings something special to the team, and that's showing up. And they have a good defense too. And the Panthers got nothing. Bryce Young's going to be back out there. They're 1-6. They have the worst power ranking in the NFL. I think the Broncos win at home, cover the point spread at 10.5. The Chiefs and the Raiders. The Chiefs winning ugly, finding a way to win. Mahomes having his worst season so far. They're 6-0. Got the number 1 power ranking in the league. The Raiders, on the other hand, a team, it's a mess as far as I can see. Their coach dissing them in public. They got rid of Devontae Adams. The record's 2-5. They don't really have a quarterback. The power ranking at 28, going up against number 1. Chiefs should cover 9.5. Dallas and San Francisco, we already talked about this one at length. I got the 49ers and covering at 4.5. And finally, the Giants at the Steelers. I like the Steelers, but to win this game, principally because the Giants, as you say, they play terrible in the primetime games. Their power ranking at 26 and a record of 2-5 against the Steelers, who have a very good defense, 5-2 record and a number 8 power ranking. I don't like the fact they've benched Justin Fields. I don't think it was warranted. I think that even though Russell Wilson had a good second half, a very small sample size, the guy has played spotty over the last couple of years. We'll have to wait and see what happens. The Giants have a pretty good defense. They can put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. Russell Wilson may be on one wheel with that calf injury that they say is fully recovered. I'm not so sure. We'll have to wait and see what happens.
Well, there you go. You actually have done very, very well on the point spread. On the point spread a little bit. You're +7 in yours. Meanwhile,
53%.
I finally broke even. That's big for me. Finally broke even. Now, I'm hoping to break even this week, although it would require a miracle for me to do that just based on how some teams are screwing me over. Like, for instance, I chose the Rams to win -5.5. That's what I bet on. It was 6.5, but I bet 5.5. They won by 5. It's stuff like that I'm just getting screwed over by. And what I'm referencing is my Harvey hot hand, which is I do this every single Friday. I choose the 5 games and the 5 teams you should bet on to cover the spread. This is brought to you by Dr. Squatch. Go to www.drsquatch.com/Nathan Harvey or click the top link down below in the description to get $10 off your orders of $20 or more for new customers. Now, I went 2-3 last week, and I just referenced one of the times I got screwed over. How about the Chargers not being able to score any touchdowns? How about that, too? And the Cardinals, with one of the worst defenses, holding the Chargers to 12 points. That's what I'm talking about here. I'm getting screwed over. I went 2-3 last week. I'm 16-19 overall. I still believe my picks, though. We decided to switch it up a little bit. I switched it up and had minimal success with it. It's time to change it up again. It's not working enough for me, so we're taking a couple risks here. So let's begin with the first pick of my Harvey hot end of Week 8. Let's go.
Packers at Jaguars.
So, outside of all the interceptions that Jordan Love has thrown, he's basically stayed in the same form we saw the last 10 games of the season last year. Very consistent. He is number 2 in touchdowns, but he's also played 2 fewer games than any of the other top quarterbacks. So that shows just how effective he's been, just how dominant he's been in the regular season so far. Guess what? This week he's going up against the 31st ranked pass defense in the NFL. The Jaguars, yes, they do have a couple wins there, but their wins are against Joe Flacco and the Colts, without Jonathan Taylor, and they won barely beat them. They also beat Drake May against the Patriots in London, where the Patriots couldn't stop the run for anything. The Packers actually have a very, very good defense here. They also lead in explosive plays. I do not expect Trevor Lawrence and this offense, which is pretty anemic, to be able to keep up with the Green Bay Packers. I'll take the Packers to win 31-27 and cover a -3.5 point spread. Give me the Packers and the points. Next one.
Eagles at Bengals.
So this one, it's all about kind of the offense of both teams, really. Joe Burrow's been balling out since that loss to the Patriots. Since then, since really starting at week 2 and moving on. He's tied for first in touchdowns, third in completion percentage, fourth in passing yards, and sixth in yards per attempt. He's been great. It's the defense that's the issue. The Eagles, on the other hand, especially their defense, way too volatile. Up and down, doesn't know exactly what's going on there. Nick Sirianni, he doesn't call any plays. He's a motivator for the team. However, his players are giving the post-game speeches to each other. I don't know what his job is. Yes, the Eagles look great against the Giants in Saquon Barkley's revenge game against the Giants. Completely understand. But I have no idea if Jalen Hurts is going to go down 14-0 early in this game and start off 0 for 4 and have 0 yards through a quarter and a half like we've already seen this season. I expect Joe Burrow to absolutely ball out in this game as he has been since week 1. The Bengals defense needs to generate some stops here. That's an issue. Meanwhile, the Eagles, they don't stop anybody. They don't stop anybody. They don't take the ball away. They're ranked dead last in takeaways. I expect Joe Burrow to absolutely have a great game in this one. I'm hoping that a non-existent running game of the Bengals can come to life a little bit. The Eagles defense all over the place. Don't exactly know I don't know how the Eagles defense will show up against the Bengals, but what I do know is that the Ravens had a great defense, and yet the Bengals were able to execute beautifully their offense. I expect the Bengals to win, cover minus 2.5 point spread. They win 24-21. The next one.
Jets at Patriots.
So this one's interesting. I'm not making the same mistake I made the first time these teams play. I'm just not. The Jets have the better everything. They have the better defensive front. The Patriots couldn't run the ball or couldn't stop the run last week. Guess what? Brees Hall, Braylon Allen, they should have a great time. They have a better quarterback. Rodgers is pissed off. Now they have the better receiver core, especially with Devontae Adams out there. The Jets should be able to stop anything the Patriots got, whether it's on the ground or whether it's through the air, especially with DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner. And now Hassan Reddick is making his debut with the Jets this week against New England. The Jets are 6th in quarterback pressure rate this season. And guess what? May actually doesn't do very well, as I would assume anybody would expect a rookie not being able to handle pressure very well. He's ranked 30 out of 38 qualified quarterbacks while under pressure. Expect the Jets defense to stop anything that the Patriots could do offensively, although Drake May has looked significantly better than Jacoby Brissett this season. I don't think the Patriots have enough in them currently to be able to overcome even a reeling team like the Jets. They're just better in every facet of the game. Maybe not head coach, although Jeff Ulbrich is doing a decent job. The offense looks better. The defense has kind of dipped a little bit since Robert Saleh got fired, but I expect the Jets, they are the better team. I'm not making the same mistake again. The Jets are better than the Patriots. Give me the points. Jets win 28-20 and cover a minus 7 point spread. Next one.
Panthers at Broncos.
This one, it's minus 10.5 point spread. I'm taking the swing here. Here's why. The Panthers are rolling Bryce Young out there, which is the first time we've seen him since he got benched after week 2's pretty pitiful performance. The last time we saw him, 84 passing yards, 1 pick, a 57.2 passer rating. Guess what? That's bottom of the league. That's bottom of the barrel. The only reason why we're seeing Bryce Young out here is because Andy Dalton got into a car accident. He can't go this week. So if you're forced to roll out Bryce Young in there, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel. No disrespect, but Bryce Young has been garbage so far throughout his career. Meanwhile, the Broncos, they could be getting their best defender back this week in Pat Surtain. But even without him, they still hold the third best defense in the NFL, and they're fifth against the pass. Bo Nix, the last 3 games, we've seen him. That first game, not great. We had faith in Bo Nix in the first game he ever played against the Seahawks. It was like, did the Broncos make a mistake? Well, in the last 3 games, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick, a 93.5 passer rating. I think any team will take that in the last 3 games. 4 touchdowns, only 1 pick, 93 passer rating. He's moving the ball downfield pretty effectively, although he's gotten a lot of help in the running game. They finally got their running game going. But the Broncos' story is their defense. Pass rush getting there. Coverage is great. I think really that pass rush is why the Broncos are succeeding so well. If you're getting Pat Surtain back, expect Bryce Young to do nothing, as you can see on the score. Give me the Broncos to blow out the Panthers. I'll take the Broncos to win and cover a minus 10.5 point spread. They win 24-7. I don't think the Panthers put up double digits, especially with Bryce Young there at quarterback. And the final pick of Week 8's Harvey Hot Hand is
Cardinals at Dolphins.
So, Tua's coming back. This offense really is built around Tua Tagovailoa. This is the first time we're going to see him since he suffered a pretty bad concussion earlier in the season. The Dolphins' offense, is, like I mentioned, is built around Tua Tagovailoa. That's how their offense works. With Tyler Huntley out there, the offense was non-existent. I think Tua will bring this offense to life, although Tyreek Hill did just come up on the injury report. He's going to be questionable to go, but I think he'll be out there anyway. Very excited, although he's sending some cryptic messages out on social media. He said he was very, very excited to basically get going with Tua once again. The Cardinals, though, they have a very, very poor defense that just played and succeeded against the second, the worst second half offense in the NFL in the Los Angeles Chargers. So how much stock are you really going to buy out of the Cardinals? I'm not buying any. Tua normally eats up bad teams and really does poor against really, really good teams. Are we considering the Cardinals a decent to good team? I'm not. I'm taking Tua to eat up the Cardinals, who I think are a bad team. Give me the story of Tua's comeback game he dominates in. I'll take the Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins to win and cover a -4.5 point spread. They win 30-20, and those are my Week 8 Harvey Hot Hand picks. Now, as always, I go over to you to analyze how I'm so wrong in every single week.
You're so wrong.
Sorry, you
never
give me
said
suggestions to
I think
change.
that there were some the games that I think would have been a little easier to pick. That
So
are tougher.
give me your options, or do you think I should have a pretty good list this week?
Okay, so I think that the Ravens-Browns is an easier pick than the Eagles-Bengals.
You would trust -8.5 point spread
against the Browns
in a divisional game
against the Ravens, who really should be the number one power ranked team in the NFL.
I'm not disagreeing about the power ranking. I'm disagreeing about right now. Lamar Jackson in his career has not done tremendous against the Browns.
The Browns are horrible this year.
The
defense isn't any good either, and they have no offense at all.
Maybe
who are they putting out there at quarterback this year?
Jameis Winston. You like Jameis Winston.
I do like Jameis Winston, but he's going to probably throw some interceptions though.
Well, I mean, I would assume against the Ravens defense.
Yeah,
I'm not. The divisional
so that was
game,
one.
I don't love that division.
And then the Cardinals against the Dolphins. I think that one could be a little shaky there, right? So I would have picked the Giants against the Steelers. Yeah.
There's a stat out there. There's a number out there, and
Monday Night Football, Daniel Jones,
right. But
Steelers at home, number 8 power ranking.
I understand, but
Giants number 26.
I wish I got this reference. I wish I had the exact number.
2-5 record against the 5-2 record.
I understand. I think it's post Big Ben. If the point spread is over, I think 4 in a primetime game. If they're favored by 4 or more since Big Ben left, they've lost outright.
Oh, yeah.
It's something like that. I might be a little bit wrong about that. Maybe someone out there could correct me. It's something like that.
The Giants don't play well in a primetime
I agree. Daniel Jones does not do well. I don't think he has a single win in primetime.
He was benched last week.
Well, that's because you were down 28-3. I mean, it's embarrassing. Although I will give John Mara credit. He said, Joe Shane, Brian Daboll, they'll be back next year. That's the smart decision because I mentioned earlier, bad quarterbacks get good coaches fired. John Mara saying, we're going to bring him back, which is the smart thing to do. You cannot let think about what Brian Daboll did with Josh Allen. Refined his game, turn him in for the most red zone interceptions to now let very, very few turnovers since then. He left. Josh Allen starts throwing a couple interceptions, not looking great. Now this season, he's playing it very safe. 0 interception. I think it's 12 touchdowns, no picks, which is very uncharacteristic. Although the offense does rely heavily on an effective run game. James Cook. What's his name? I forget the backup running back.
Davis.
Yes.
He's good.
Yes.
He got his first chance, man. He looked really good.
He did look very. I want to get the names accurate.
Rookie. Ray Davis.
Yeah, Ray Davis. That's right. Ty Johnson also had a couple nice plays.
I bet he'll get some touches this game. We'll see how he does. Ray Davis.
I think we'll see. Josh Allen's not going to go 0 for in interceptions this year. I do not expect that, especially with Amari Cooper out there. I expect more
leading MVP
risk-taking.
candidate.
Who?
Josh Allen.
Not in the odds makers. Lamar Jackson's a heavy favorite.
Yeah.
He's plus 200 to Mahomes is plus 475. How is Mahomes number 2? I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Mahomes isn't a top 10 quarterback right now. The fact that he's number 2 in the MVP voting, that's purely on reputation. Because if we're talking about pure play, Mahomes isn't the top 10 quarterback in the league. Lamar Jackson, based on play, yes, should be number 1. But those are my Harvey Hot Hand picks. If you want to support the show, go over to www.drsquatch.com/Nathan Harvey. $10 off orders at $20 more for new customers. Thank you for supporting the show. But for this episode of the Harvey Hour, I think that wraps it up right now. World Series Game 1 starts in about 10 minutes. Go over there, check that out. Yankees, Dodgers. Dodgers have to win this one. They got to get off to a hot streak because you very well could lose Game 2. I do not trust Jack Flaherty out there when your velocity dips.
Yankees have to win one
season.
The Yankees have to win 1 out of 2 out there.
You would hope that that's the case. But for this episode of the Harvey Hour, my name's Nathan Harvey. That's my dad, Stephen Harvey. We are the co-hosts of the Harvey Hour. Catch us Tuesday. We're going to recap all of Week 8. Catch us Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube.
Right, Grandpa?
Traveling can be a nightmare. Why? You can't watch your favorite shows abroad. You can't trust public Wi-Fi spots anymore. And when you return, roaming bills kill your vibe. Unless you get a NordVPN and Saley deal. NordVPN will increase your privacy online. And Saley, a global eSIM data app, will save you from those unexpected roaming charges. Grab the 2-year NordVPN deal with 76% off and get up to 20 gigabytes Saley eSIM data gift